And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to New Earth TV Live here on this beautiful Friday. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're having great holidays as well too. I've been enjoying them. I've had a few days off now, just not really doing sessions. I'm still working with AETHERX, of course, but it's been a little bit more slower pace, so it's given me some time to recharge and revitalize myself a little bit more. So I'm having a great time and hoping you guys are having great holidays as well too. So, just a reminder, like I said, next week on the Thursday, I'm going to be bringing the signposts onto Rumble. Okay, so this is for the Thursday show, the Thursday webcast. The signposts is moving to Rumble. The first episode is January 4th of 2024. Really, all you have to do is just go to rumble.com/thesignposts, or sorry, not the signposts, sorry, rumble.com/signpostslive, right? So when you're doing the backslash, then capital S, and then IGNPOSTS, and live, so a capital L, and then IVE, right? Signpost Live. That is the URL for my Rumble channel. So that is going to be happening on Thursday next week, so I'm looking forward to that. And of course, Friday next week, I'm going to be having Janine on. Okay, so Tarot by Janine. Janine Morigeau is going to be here with me. And again, that is happening at 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern. It's hosted live on Zoom. So if you click on the video description down below, you'll see the direct link to join Zoom. Okay, so if you do want to ask Janine questions, you have to be on the Zoom call. Okay, so you have to be a Zoom attendee. Okay, because I'm not taking any questions by email or anything of that nature. It's just too hectic, right? Because I have a lot of people on Zoom who want to ask Janine questions, okay? So again, the questions will be semi-personal and general in nature. So again, check out the registration link for Zoom in the video description for the interview with Janine happening next Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. And of course, private sessions, distance healing, and 3-question sessions by email. Of course, the full body source healing sessions are also available. I am getting quite a few bookings right now though. Private sessions are actually a little more quickly available than the full body source healing sessions, just due to the amount of bookings that are happening. Of course, same thing with 3-question private email sessions. They are available a little bit more quicker, and same thing with the distance healing sessions. But if you don't want to wait, then what I would suggest is just go to my fiance's website, which is trinityhomehealing.com. That's trinityhomehealing.com. She's actually making a second website as well too, for her tarot and for her distance healing. But in the meantime, you can go to that website because she's happy to do some healing with you, and she is an excellent healer as well too. So something to consider as well. If you want to get healing done pretty quickly, then I would suggest going to Brienne. Okay, she's going to help you out very quickly. Okay, moving on. So everything on our YouTube channel here on New Earth Teachings is backed up onto our Odyssey channel, odyssey.com/@NewEarthTeachings. One thing else I forgot to mention was, of course,
Source Energy enhanced products to repair and rejuvenate the body. From the power of light to crystals to bed kits, card decks, and more. View our free samples, tutorials, and testimonials on our website, AETHERX.co.
And of course, we have the promo code here, New Year's 20, for 20% off of your order. This is good until the end of day on January 1st. Okay, so you just go to AETHERX.co. We have all products available right now, from the Source flashlights, the Source laser pens. We have the new Source Orgonite necklaces that are in. We also have the eye masks that are in right now. We have the visor sunglasses. We have selenite. We have amethyst. We have the universal Orgonite pyramids as well too. We have tumblers. We have socks. We have face cloths. We have beach towels. We have the AETHERX essential oils. Right, everything is in stock. Right. So feel free to grab that. Again, take advantage of the 20% discount off as well too. Of course, we do have the healing code cards, the body deck, the mind deck, and the energy deck. You can actually buy them at a discounted bundle rate and then add the promo code on top of that to get additional discounts as well too. So check that out now, AETHERX.co. This Sunday, I'll be on AETHERX live stream as well too. So I'm going to be doing some giveaways this coming Sunday on AETHERX live stream. So again, the AETHERX live stream is youtube.com/@AETHERX store. Right? And I'm going to be giving away 2 Source Orgonite necklaces. Right? So again, feel free to tune into that. I always have a nice little easy and fun skill testing question as I give away 2 items, that being the Source Orgonite necklaces. All right, so check that out. That is going to be happening at 10 a.m. Pacific time this Sunday on the AETHERX YouTube channel. Okay, guys, so we're going to go ahead and get started with today's broadcast. So again, welcome everybody. I'm already getting a couple people with donations here, so I appreciate that. Adronis is going to come in first, and he's going to give a transmission. I'm not too sure what he wants to discuss. I always just kind of leave it to him, whatever he feels that he wants to share through me to share with you guys. And then after that, we'll be getting into Q&A. Then after Q&A, we'll get into distance healing. Now with distance healing today, I'm going to be working with something a little bit different. I'm going to be working with the Kundalini healing power, okay, which I'll be talking a little bit more about as I work with 3 volunteers. Okay, so I'll be taking 3 people for healing requests. Okay, so like I said, guys, if you want to leave a donation for that, again, it really is just first come, first served, right? The first 3 people that want to have a distance healing request, those are the 3 people that I'll serve. And then, of course, I'll end the broadcast with a group healing for everybody else. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and bring Adronis in. It'll just take me a moment or so to bring him through, and then he will begin his transmission. And here we go. All right, ready to begin. Terra Soul Star Adronis. We are here. At this time, we bid you greetings, and thank you very much for the opportunity of this interaction today. I am Adronis of Sirius, sending love, appreciation, and gratitude to all who are tuning in to this broadcast through your internet collective consciousness. What we'd like all of you to do at this time is simply allow yourselves to get relaxed, get comfortable, and tune in to the vibrations of Sirius, so that you may synchronize, harmonize, and align to all of the information that we have to share. Also understand that all of the information that we shall provide today is simply that of our perspective, our point of view. For all knowledge, all information, all creation itself resides within your very hearts, beings, and souls. We will have a little bit more of a serious transmission with you today. And by serious, we're referring to S-I-R-I-U-S. More of a serious transmission. And this serious transmission is giving you a little bit more of a perspective in regards to where we reside, and how you are also able to tune into our frequency vibratory domain should you wish to communicate with us, should you have any intention to do so. As we have talked about, in our ancient times, we evolved as what you would know as a type of human or humanoid species that are averaging of height went anywhere from approximately 6.5 to 8.5 to 9 feet tall, and that we have, as you would term, fine blonde hair, or actually sometimes it would also be in the silver or the white spectrum as well too. We often have what you would know as blue eyes, or again lighter aqua or turquoise eyes. Some of it would also move into the silver or even the white-eyed band as well too. There is the nature of what you would term as male and female throughout our civilization. And that our ancient home, which represented the 3rd planet, existing within our own particular frequency domain, which is again the 3rd planet from the Sirius A star. It is what you would term as a much more larger Earth-like planet, but in that sense it evolved its own, shall we say, complexion, to where it evolved much more into a crystalline planetary structure. where much more in regards to how you would see our ancient home would be very, very much more of a crystalline-based world. And so in that sense, it did have an earth quality to it, but it is residing much more into the nature of crystals. Very much as if you were to go inside your own inner earth, and you would see these enormous towers of crystal. Well, seeing those enormous towers even much more larger in mass, and actually seeing them penetrating from the subterranes up into the surface, where again much of this was brought forward through collective manifestation of our people. Our civilization resided of approximately 600 million of our kind in that way. So it is nowhere near the population explosion that you have upon your planet that is nearing 8 billion people. So again, as we had an approximation of nearly 600 million people, that this particular form of evolution that we went through was a collective planetary alignment. And this collective planetary alignment enabled us to develop a stargate through much of the crystalline structure that we had upon the planet. In regards to, shall we say, how the Earth itself, our own Earth, was aligned in that particular way, of how all the structures were geometrically harmonized, we were able to move much more into a particular planetary alignment that, shall we say, propagated a stargate, a portal. And it was through that stargate portal opening that, through the idea of a simultaneous ceremony encompassing the great majority of our people, we left that particular planet. Now again, as we have stated, we reside within a very different dimension compared to yours. But if we were to liken exactly how long ago this happened in your own coordination, you would basically be looking at approximately 80,000 to 85,000 years ago of your time. But again, that would also represent the nature of some confusion, because we can also come into your own time zone from 300 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, 50,000 years, 100,000 years, approximately, etc. So again, the whole idea of the nature of when these things actually occur really doesn't matter. Because again, as we've stated, we are much more fluidic with the nature of what you term time to be. We can be with you, as you would say, 10,000 years in your past. We could be with you 300 years in your future. We could be with you 10,000 years in your future. Or again, we can be with you in this current present era to which you are a part of. It really doesn't matter to us, because the nature of our communication is not limited by the time frame that we decide to exist in, sharing it together with yourselves. We are coming together from one universe into your own universe, from one particular domain into your domain, to where there is a shared space, to where there is a bridge, a connection that is forged. And as we moved into, as you would say, the ascension from our own particular planet to where we became what you would know as luminous beings, and that as luminous beings we're able to reside within the heart of our own sun, to which you would term as Sirius A, or that being the dog star. And this is where we reside presently, within the heart, within the essence, within the soul of our own star, representing that of Sirius A. If we were to give it an approximation pertaining to our own language, we really do not refer to it as the Sirius star, for that is the human language. If we were to basically convey a particular vibratory nature pertaining to our star that you can understand, you would understand it as Gre. Gre. G-R-E apostrophe E. Gre would be the name in our own particular ancient language representing the star of Sirius A. Gre. Gre. Say that together with us now. Gre. G-R-E apostrophe E. That is what we would term our own particular star through our own particular ancient language. However, we are completely satisfied with the nature of still referring it to as Sirius A, should you decide to utilize that particular term, or Gre, as you wish. All right? So as we are, again, in this particular frequency domain within the heart of our own star, one may ask, well, Adronis, how can I get in touch with you? Because I don't even know what it feels like to be within the heart of my own star or the heart of my own sun. Well, you do not have to think of it in that particular way. Think of where we reside as a void that is colored in very deep blue. All right? We want you just to see a void within your mind right now. And we want you just to imagine that you are taking that void and you are colorizing it into a very deep navy or royal blue. All right? And we want you also just to see patterns of light, fluctuations of light around the, as you would say, space or void, representing this navy or royal blue. And that in the center you are seeing a ball of light. And that ball of light would emanate between the gold and white spectrums. And as you see that golden whitish ball starting to expand more and more, and as it expands, you are seeing a golden tree. A fractal version of a golden tree where you have the fractalized branches. Many of you can certainly utilize your own imagination because it does not need to be perfect in regards to any particular type of design, other than the idea of seeing a tree like a fractal. And when you are able to see that, you are therefore getting an idea of the realm, of the domain to which we reside, representing that dark royal or navy blue space where you are seeing that gold to whitish orb starting to expand further and further and further, and just seeing the appearance of a fractal tree directly in the center. If you wish, you could also simply see that the light itself is expanding, and you can see a blue shield with a golden tree in the center. This too is appropriate to our frequency domain. And while you have that vision within your mind, you are just calling within yourself, Adronis, Adronis, Adronis. And it is through that particular calling that as you maintain that focus, you will therefore connect chords with us. And we will be more than happy to interact with you. So again, it is all about bringing yourself into our domain, but it's not about looking at it in a very idle form of way. You want to bring your energies, you want to bring your feelings into this as you're chanting Adronis. Let it be a chant that represents sincerity, love, compassion, and the desire to connect with us. So it is not this, Adronis, Adronis. It is much more of Adronis, Adronis. You see how you're putting feeling behind the words. And that is important. And that is what's ensuring a connection in between your reality and the reality to which we reside in turn. And therefore, we are happy to communicate with you in this way should you desire it. So we gave you a little bit of a peek relating to exactly where we reside. That yes, again, our own star, Gray, represents our home. That is where we ourselves reside within this particular frequency vibratory domain, just as you reside upon your beautiful planet Earth throughout your own appropriate frequency domains as well. So feel free to utilize this to your heart's desire if you wish, and we look forward to connecting with you personally, as you say. We thank you for this interaction, and we will now move forward and begin your question and answer period. We thank you in one moment as we return to the conduit. Okay, wow. Felt great. So guys, hope you enjoyed that, giving you a little bit more of understanding, a greater depth in regards to Adronis and where he comes from, where he resides. That's the first time that he's actually mentioned his star in his own ancient language publicly. So be sure to hold on to that. Gray. Right? Very, very interesting. It's very important that you roll the R as well too if you can. Right? It's not gray. It's gray, gray, Gre. So I know some people can't roll their R's, but do your best. If you can't do it verbally, try to do it mentally, right? Gre. Right? That's really how to pronounce it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started now with some questions. Let me just make sure I have my cards handy. Okay, got my cards here. So I know there's a couple of donations, so we're going to start off with the donations first. Yeah, you guys are wondering about the shirt. This is one of the older Healing Code Shop shirts. This goes back, I think, about a couple years. So I've had it for a while. It's kind of faded a little bit with a lot of washing and drying, but I still like it. Okay, so like I said, for everybody who is doing healing requests are going to follow after Q&A, right? Right now it's about 10:22 a.m., so we'll probably be doing healing around 10 after 11 or so, around that time, okay? And like I said, I will be ending with a group healing for everybody as well, too. Okay, so we're going to start off with Q&A. So I have one question here from Babito7. Babito7 says, Adronis, can you talk about the African Dogon tribe who apparently had contact with beings from Sirius? Okay, one moment, please. We thank you very much, Babito7, for your question. Again, another serious discussion that we're having with you today, so we thank you for the synchronicity. Now again, as you would understand, your Dogon tribe of South Africa that represented the connection pertaining to beings from Sirius. Now, these are not our people as you would term it. They do, in that sense, represent a similar connection to which we are familiar with the group. But you would understand that these beings do reside from what you would know as Sirius B and not Sirius A. All right? They were actually a part of your planet in your ancient history. And they basically had ancient dwellings that occurred within the greater depths of your ocean. They basically had a civilization there. But they have migrated primarily off-world and have returned much more into their own appropriate domains. But these particular beings of Sirius B are what you would refer to as aquatic beings, or what you would know as fish folk, or what you would know as fish humanoids. All right? So they certainly did have connections with these particular beings. Now, these beings could exist upon the surface of the land for a certain amount of time before they desired to return back into the depths of the ocean. But they also assisted the Dogon tribes in regards to their earlier states of learning. They also taught them how to work with ceremony, to not only connect with them, but also to working together with their ancestors. So they taught a lot about different types of languages. They taught a lot about the idea of building and construction. And they, again, taught a lot about rituals. So a lot of the basics that, again, particular tribes would require. And they would see these particular beings as gods because they actually did have particularly vessels, all right, conveyances that would often come out of the water. And basically, in that sense, as they were being shown, the Dogon tribes would worship them. So the Dogon, in that sense, worshipped these particular beings of Sirius B. If we were to give them our own particular name, they would be referred to as the Narut. All right? N-A-H apostrophe R-U-T. N-A-H apostrophe R-U-T. The Narut. All right? Which basically represents a complement into their, shall we say, fish or even amphibious form. All right? So basically you can understand that the living water people is one way of being able to transcribe that particular term, the Narut. All right? So they basically founded the earth through their own means, again, going back into your ancient history, many hundreds of thousands of years ago. And they once had these particular forms of dwellings underneath your oceans. But many of them have migrated away. There is not really that many left. There are some, but again, these would represent much more of a reservation of a group from the Narut themselves. All right? So that is primarily who they worshipped, because these particular beings helped the Dogon tribes in regards to their own natural and daily ways of living, helping them to educate, helping them to evolve in this particular capacity. All right? We thank you for your question. Okay, very interesting. Getting some really good serious questions here today. It's that kind of day, I think. So thank you, Babito, for your question there. Okay, so again, I'm getting a couple people asking for healing. So again, guys, we have to wait until we get into the healing time, all right? So let me just give me a moment here. Okay, so there's two people here who have donations. That's Martine and that's Java Bali. Okay, so the two of them are asking for healing as well too. So I'm going to get back to you guys on that. Okay, we have another question here from Earthly Experience. Adronis, where I live in New Zealand, our sky is being geoengineered to be covered with cloud for most of the year, and we very rarely see the sun. Why is it happening? Who is doing it? And what can I or we do to stop it? Okay. One moment. We thank you very much for your question. We understand the situation that you're referring to pertaining to the land of New Zealand, to where there is, as you would term, a great deal of geoengineering. Well, a lot of this particular geoengineering that is happening is a combination between two particular forces, you could say. There is the idea in that sense of attempting to bring New Zealand into, in that sense, what you would term as smart city technology. And there are also, in that sense, the counter forces that are working to, shall we say, dismay that particular idea. New Zealand is attempting to be selected as a smart city candidate. All right? And so there will be a great deal of geoengineering that is taking place, but there is also efforts taking place right now attempting to reverse that particular agenda. In order for that to be fully reversed, there is going to be a change in government. As there is going to be a change in government, there is going to be a change in leadership. As there are a change in leadership, there's going to be a change in policies. As there are change in policies, there are going to be significant changes that are going to lead to the ceasing of this particular bombardment. All right. So New Zealand being, in that sense, the ideal component for much of the old regime's intentions to be made into a smart island. That's basically what's attempting to happen here. Now, again, we do not see it furthering in that way, but this, again, is something that is, as Brad has shared with you many times, attempting to light a fire under many of you. And we understand many of you want it to stop, but the whole idea is that you need to look at this a lot more deeper. You need to come together much more in the state of larger groups to make this intention what it can be. So again, New Zealand has primarily been targeted as a smart city candidate or a smart land candidate. And this is exactly why a lot of these particular forms of geoengineering and other particular schemes are being brought forward in that way. However, as you start to move forward into 2024, you will notice that there will be a greater reduction pertaining to geoengineering activity, as New Zealand is currently in the process of moving much more into counterforce activity that will assist in the reduction of much of the geoengineering and the reduction of these particular plans that are attempting to bring it into a smart complex and basically nullifying that particular idea. All right? We thank you for your question. Okay. Thank you very much, Earthly Experience, for your question. All right. So I think that is all for the donations, other than the healing requests, which I'll get to shortly. All right. So again, we do have another healing request here from Pax. So Pax, again, as long as there's no donations in the way, you could possibly be the third person, but we'll just get back to that. Okay. Let's see if we have any other questions coming up here. Okay. Okay, this one here is from Alina. Okay, Alina says, could Adronis enlighten us regarding the beings who are working in pocket dimensions to restore earth-contaminated souls and water's masses? Are they working frequency? Are they inspiring people? Okay, one moment. So this is what we'd refer to again as what Adronis talked about a little while ago, about, I referred to them as the watchers, right? But these are watchers of a different type, okay? And they're in the background, and they're helping, they're going to be stepping up a lot more in 2024, okay? So Adronis can give a little bit more information in regards to these particular watcher beings that are going to be performing these tasks. So again, one moment, as we'll look into this further. We thank you very much, Alina, for your question pertaining to what we have termed as the Earth Watchers. Now, these beings in that sense are coordinated. It is not the idea in that sense of them going on their own merry way and performing whatever it is they wish. This is all part of what you would term in a certain degree as a type of military coordination. All right? It is very similar to that particular form of coordination. Everything works together with the nature of synchronicity, but it even goes beyond your military coordination because it is working much more into the harmonic patterns of the universe. All right? So you have certain beings coming upon your planet residing within these particular hidden dimensions, as what we have termed as pocket dimensions, and they are working on a great deal of different tasks. All right? They are basically helping to be encouragers. So they are helping to encourage the masses. All right? They have the power to do this because they are not only working together with their own, shall we say, inner mental prowesses, they are also working together with technological prowesses. Remember what we talked about in regards to the state of a veil that is now starting to, shall we say, crumble, that will start to thin itself out and dissipate as you move into the tail end of 2024, representing the inverted solstice that we have spoken about. That this is really what's taking away the power of the influence from the moon relating to a great deal of technologies. Because the idea of attempting to turn off technologies on the moon is taking a great deal longer than anticipated. So what they're deciding to do is, in that sense, is thinning out the particular veil that represents the nature of influence pertaining to these technologies that are residing upon the moon to assist in certain forms of psychic suggestion, mental suggestion, emotional suggestion upon the planet. When you're looking at the idea of the Earth Watchers, they are attempting to reverse this process. That's what's taking place. Are they going to clean the oceans for you? No. That's for humanity to do. That's your job. They are not going to intervene upon the work that you are required to do as a species. They are basically doing much more of a nonchalant role, simply assisting in the upliftment of the planet to a greater degree. So they are working together with helping out some of the Earth governments implement certain technologies that will change in regards to appropriate frequencies. So what you would know as your common electrical devices may be going through some significant changes. They will basically be going through certain upgrades. This even relates to the nature of your mobile phones pertaining to future versions of them, is that they are not going to be so toxic pertaining to their own energetics. They are going to be turning around. Your own vehicles on your planet in regards to future rollouts with them, they are going to be less toxic. Particularly electrical vehicles. The reason why a lot of the electrical vehicles in that sense are quite toxic is because of the electrical emissions that they are constantly emanating. And that is going to be resolved very, very soon as you move forward within the next couple of years, where they are going to be less emission based. You're still going to have electrical vehicles, but they are going to be fine-tuned. And those will be of the future models coming together. So it is, in that sense, a counter initiative to basically helping to clean up a lot of the technology, but doing it in a very nonchalant way, where again it will appear as if humanity is bringing these things forward, and it truly is that you are. But they are, in that sense, receiving a lot of these recommendations from, again, the Counterforce Alliance, you could call them. So again, what many of them are also doing is they are working together with their own mental prowesses to assist in, again, positive upliftment on the planet, diffusing situations that may be tense, looking at the idea of city sides where people are trying to be at each other's throats, and suggestions coming together much more through like a rippling effect throughout your surface of your planet, where there's much more of an encouragement factor, where there's much more in that sense of people wanting to work together with each other rather than trying to be at each other's throats. So again, that is how helping itself out through the Earth Watchers based on both a natural mental prowess level and a technological prowess level as well too. Because there will also be frequencies that are going to be bombarded upon your planet that move much more into a higher vibrational frequency domain that will encourage much more of a unified factor. However, before that can happen, there needs to be a greater reduction pertaining to the lower frequencies that basically bring about agitation, that bring about depression, that bring about a great deal of certain frequencies that would bring you into much more despair and, in that sense, chaotic states. So a lot of that is looking to be reduced firstly. As that starts to get reduced, new frequencies will come upon the planet because that old veil will have been cracked. It would have been dissipated. And a new veil is coming upon the planet, working together with the moon to encourage the upliftment of humankind. All right? We're not doing it for you, but we're just helping you along. That's really the whole idea. The Earth Watchers are not here to do things for you. They're basically helping out. They're helping to tune the bands in the background so that everything does not feel so harsh, conflicted, and chaotic. It's moving much more into a subtler frequency, into a higher frequency, where there can be much more encouragement to unification with one person to another, or within larger human groups. Also working together with nature, also working together with the creatures of the planet, so that they are not also being bombarded by these chaotic frequencies, causing, in that sense, different forms of, shall we say, scattered migrations, different degrees in that sense pertaining to certain death tolls of certain species because of particular frequency bombardments that have happened throughout your planet due to military operations. All right, so there's a lot more to it. We understand there's a lot of facets to this. And as the time progresses, we will pick up on some of those facets as you move forward throughout the 2024 year. So we thank you very much, Alina, for your question. Okay, great. Thank you, Alina. So yeah, there's a lot there. There certainly is. And we can only talk about so much at this time, but as time progresses, we'll touch a little bit more on some of these phases of new things to come. Okay? Very good. Thank you. Okay, let's go down the list here a bit more. Yeah, some of these things you guys are mentioning, guys, I don't really have too much familiarity with, right? You need to be a little bit more broader with the kind of questions that you're asking. Not just that, but I want to make sure that the questions you guys are asking are a little bit more beneficial for much more of the viewers that are watching, right? So when we're looking at the idea of a soul phone, I've never even heard of that. When we're looking at the idea of interdimensional activity in Hess-Leyden, I'm not aware of that, okay? So just things that are a little bit more commonplace for people to really kind of tune into and help them out. So I'm a little bit picky with questions, right? Because I really want to make sure that these questions are helping out a lot more other people, right? So please just keep that in mind as you ask these questions. This is why I say for them to be a little bit more semi-personal and general in nature. General in that sense that more people can kind of understand what you're talking about, okay? Otherwise, if I'm just going into a deep topic with you regarding a deep question where nobody else is really getting it, it's not going to bring a lot of reward to people, okay? So we want to try and find these questions to be a little bit more commonplace. If you guys do have those deeper questions, that's where you do a private session with me, and I'm happy to answer those, okay? So this is just a little bit of a FYI for people that are basically trying to ask these deeper questions, okay? We want to try not to get too deep. Try to stay a little bit more on the surface so that other people can benefit from your questions, okay? Okay, here's one from Liliana, because this one feels a little bit more general. Liliana says, question, hi Brad and Adronis. On December 23rd, 2023, I saw the sunset. It had rings, rainbow colors around the sun. What is your insight on this? Well, these are often what we refer to as sun halos, okay? So sun halos are kind of a natural phenomena that does take place. It often relates to the idea in that sense of where you are on the planet, and you may see alignments, right? We have moon halos, and we have sun halos in that way. But it does represent a certain alignment. It does represent a certain frequency that does come out, because it's a very beautiful thing. I've personally seen sun halos and moon halos as well, too, during very special points in my life. And it's almost like seeing yourself moving into a greater shift. You're seeing yourself coming into a greater transformation when those particular phenomena take place. But these are natural occurrences, right? again, as you're seeing it shortly after a solstice, well, solstice is a particular alignment as well too. So after we see it through the solstice, and we see this kind of sun halo coming together, that is representing the fulfillment of a particular alignment, and the energetics that come with that are quite majestic, are quite beautiful, right? They shine upon the planet, and it's representing a spectrum of certain completion. It's like a door has opened for humanity while another door is closing behind it. It represents a type of synchronistic pattern to it. When you're looking at sun halos, when you're looking at moon halos, right? Again, just appropriate alignments, but those alignments have very powerful energetics. And it's kind of like, again, it's kind of like the bliss that you feel after the rain has stopped and you're seeing this beautiful, gorgeous rainbow just shining across the valley, right? It's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing. But it also represents, in that sense, a significant energetic. And that represents the closure of something that has run its course and the opening of something brand new. And this is kind of where Adronis was talking about between the solstice of this year and the solstice of next year. It's like a bridge has crossed, a bridge has opened up, and we're now starting to walk across this new bridge because it's going to lead to a preeminence of a very great alignment. The last really beautiful moon halo I saw was actually around the time of late 2008, and that was a very important part of my life. That was me starting to move on my own, get into much more of a deeper realization of unfolding of downloads and new journeys ahead for myself. It was a very, very pristine time. And so to me, these really represent very pristine times on the planet. Something old is closed, something new is opening, an unraveling, a new tapestry is unfolding upon the planet, right? So that's what I can share in regards to that. So thank you for your question and your sharing. Okay. Let's go down a little bit further here. Okay, just give me a moment here, guys, as I'm just looking at some of the questions. So David asked the question, hi Brad and Adronis, you said that Jesus wasn't a person but an archetype. Does that mean people across many cultures embodied him? Thank you for both of everything. Well, he is a person, right? It's not to say that he didn't exist. But really what makes Jesus special is the archetype of what he represents, right? Everything that he did. Because there's going to be people, even scholars in that sense, debating whether he actually existed or not, right? But it's more important about the archetype that he represents. Now, yes, I do feel that he really existed. I've had some conversations with him in different planes, right? Going into different states of being. So he certainly does exist. But what really stands out with him is the archetype of him being the Son of Man, the archetype of him being the Son of God, something that people can aspire to be. But what the churches have basically done is they tried to make Jesus to the point where it feels like nobody could ever be like him, right? So he's born of a virgin, right? Which is a lie. He was not born of a virgin birth, okay? And feeling that, again, he was born like as God's only son. Again, there is a code that represents that, right? Because it really just brings you back into your own singular Christhood, right? The Christhood that comes through you, so that you become the only begotten, right? This basically represents occult terms. These are codes that are coming together. But if you're looking at the Bible literally, pertaining to what Jesus represents, there's a lot of people who will say, I could never measure up to what he is. And that was done purposely, right? This is the whole idea that they're basically creating Jesus in that way so that you could never be on his level, that he is God, and that you would never be able to be God himself. But as you start looking past the religious dogmas and systematic approaches of that, you'll notice that Jesus was very human, right? And, there's a TV series called The Chosen. Not sure if you guys have seen it. And I think that's one of the best depictions of Jesus there is, because they have humanized him. Right? They made him very, very human. They made him much more relatable. But this is very much like the Council of Esseni's intention was to basically throw away gospels that did not make Jesus appear like he was a god, right? They got to try and make him very, very stiff. They got to try and make him very, very stern. They got to see him shrouded in all this light. He can't share any feelings. And you can't really relate to a being like that, right? And again, that's the archetype that they tried to create. The idea of the Son of the living God, to which no mere human could ever be, because he's God, right? You guys would always have to worship him. And that is the distortion. And that's not the true archetype I'm referring to. It's the archetype of Christhood, right? If you guys have seen one of my videos on my YouTube channel about working with the Christ oil, I would suggest you watch that, okay? So basically just going onto my YouTube channel and typing in Christ oil, okay? You'll see one of the newer teachings episodes come up, and I talk about that quite extensively, about the nature of Jesus. I don't really go too much into the religious texts about the Christ oil because I wanted to make it something a little bit more practical. But being able to, in that sense, immerse yourself with sacred geometry, right? Being able to just sit and have sacred geometry all around. I don't care how you create it. I don't care if you print it out. I don't care if you make it or whatever it may be. But you're basically putting sacred geometry all around yourself. And you're just looking ahead. You're just staring forward. And you're letting yourself be bathed in this sacred geometrical bath. Okay? So there's certain meditation processes that I encourage as you start to uplift your Christ oil. Okay? I have actually lifted up my Christ oil a multitude of times in the past. Okay? And it doesn't have to be through a strict diet. It doesn't have to be anything like that. It's important that you're eating well, right? It's important that you're taking care of yourself. But like I said, I'm not the most fit person in the world. And I've been able to lift my Christ oil on a multitude of occasions. Okay? So really what it comes down to is your own readiness to move much more into subtlety. Okay? It's what I refer to as dilating. Okay? And you're just moving yourself into these expansive states where, again, you're just observing the natural geometries that are around you. You can even envision a geometry within you. And you're just encouraging the Christ oil to move up, right? So the Christ oil takes place in your sun sign, when your moon is in your sun sign every single month. You're getting the Christ oil every single month, right? It descends down from the colostrum, it descends down to the spine, it goes all the way down into the sacral plexus, and then it starts to move its way up with an approximate 3-day span. To be more precise, 2.5 days, because 2.5 days is the length of time that the moon itself is in your sun sign, okay? This again is, as Jesus would say, I will tear down this temple and rebuild it in 3 days. Okay, he's talking about the Christ oil. This is where I'm talking about the archetype. The archetype of the Christ was used specifically in that way through the Bible that only initiates would actually be able to understand. To everybody else, they're just hearing a story. They're hearing a story about man becomes God. Right? Here's the Son of the living God. Here's him performing miracles. Well, that's the effect of the Christ oil. Right? You start bringing the Christ oil into yourself. You start embodying the Christhood of yourself. You will be able to move into that Christ as well. Okay? So Jesus represents the personification, the archetype of the Christ. Yes, he really did exist. Okay? And I'm not questioning that. But it's the idea in that sense that the church has made him into an archetype where basically you can't compare yourself to a living God. And they've made him so unrelatable but loving, right? And this is where people will worship him as a God. But he was a man, okay? A wonderful man, but a man nonetheless. But again, as he moved into his Christhood, that is where you see the living God. He did what every single one of you have the capability of doing. It was even he himself that said, these things that I do, you can do as well if you would but believe. Okay? He was constantly telling you that. I tell you the truth. That is, if you're able to have the faith of a mustard seed and you tell that mountain to sink into the ocean, it will be done. Okay? If you tell the mountain to move, it will move. Right? So again, he's trying to tell everybody through code. He needed to talk through code. He needed to talk through the nature of parable. Because if he didn't, number one, he would not fulfill prophecies. Number two, his work would be lost. Right? He had to speak in code. He had to speak in certain forms of rhetoric that would last the ages. And that Bible is going to last for as long as humanity exists. Right? It's not going anywhere. It basically stands the test of time because of the words that are included in the document. Okay? It is an occult book. Okay? It's not a historical document. There are some aspects of history in it, but that's not really the point of it. The point of it is looking much more into the codes. And if you are initiated in understanding biblical code, you understand that everything that's being shared through these alchemical formulas are helping you to move much more into Godhood. That's what this signifies. That's what the Christ represents. The archetype to which Jesus holds is basically telling you about the nature of the Christ oil. Because guys, what does Christ mean? Can anybody here tell me what Christ means? What does it mean? Does it mean anointed? Does it mean Messiah? Does it mean Savior? I'm just waiting to see. Can anybody here tell me what Christ means? Right? If we're basically saying the word Christ, what are we talking about? What's it represent? God? No. Beloved? No. Crystalline? No. None of those. It's oil. Okay? Christ means oil. It's not consciousness. It's not love. None of those. Okay? It just means oil. Okay? So the Christ oil. That's why, again, I'm talking about the Christos, the Christ. We may think that it has to do with crystals, and so it has nothing to do with crystals, right? There's a crystalline nature to it, but it's not about crystals. It's not about consciousness. It's not about love. It's not about God in that sense. In a way it is, but we want to be a little bit more specific, okay? The nature of Christ means an oil. That's all it is. This is all about an oil that is produced in your brain, and that it goes down the claustrum. Okay? The claustrum is like a chimney of the brain, and it moves down the spine. And it does this every single month. And again, when the moon is in your sun sign, that is the time to where the Christ oil moves upwards, where the Christ oil starts to rebuild itself, right? So we're tearing down the temple and rebuilding ourselves in 3 days. So we're clearing away all the rubbish. We're clearing away all the debris. We're tearing down everything that is untrue and that is false within ourselves so that we can prepare for the rising of the Christ. Okay? And the way that it moves in that sense, even when it starts to move up into the third eye here, is entering through the narrow gate, and then it goes crosswise. Okay? That's the symbolism of the cross. Okay? The cross is basically telling you of the harmonic of the rising of the Christ, right? And that you basically have to go into the bowels of yourself and tear everything down. Destroy everything that is false and, in that sense, misleading of yourself, so that you prepare yourself for the rising of the Christ. You move into personal resurrection. Okay? This is the nature of the Christ oil. This is the Christ oil ritual. This, again, is what certain students were taught. And nowadays we have this information. And isn't that amazing, ladies and gentlemen? That 100 years ago you would never be able to get that kind of information publicly. And now here you are, present day today, you're able to get this information. It's not just me talking about this. There are several others who are talking about this as well too, and they're right on the money when they're talking about the Christ oil, the sacred secretion, the Christos. Okay? We can even refer to it as the chrism oil. That's appropriate as well too. But you're looking at an oil. You're looking at a divine oil that is produced through you, man and woman, every single month. And it nests itself in the sacral plexus, and it moves itself up the spine. And that, again, is the rising of the Christ. So what are you doing? You're making sure that your chakras are in harmonious alignment, right? So you're basically working together with Om Japa. This is what I'm teaching my students in the AETHERX Academy, right? You're working together with Om Japa, you're Om chanting directly into the chakras to making sure that the chakras are open. You can even go on to AETHERX, you can even grab the cedar wood essence oil, and you just put that on every single chakra, okay? And that temporarily opens the chakra center. You start breathing it in through the right nostril, you start breathing it in through the left nostril. That opens your central channel. Your central channel opens up every single night so that you can go into the dream plane, okay? So that is, again, a simple tool that you can work with if you work with the cedarwood oil. That is the essence, one of the essence essential oils on AETHERX, okay? So that's another way of doing it as well too. But really what you're doing is you're keeping your spinal pathways clear. If you're in a muck, if you're in a bind, right? If you're in conflict, you're clearing that out. Well, Brad, how would I do that? BCR technique, prana transmission technique, release ball method, the abidance method, right? The process to ending all suffering. That's what you start working with, right? Or you can even just, like I said, you just Om chant it away. It's exactly what we do in the new and improved prana transmission technique. You put your problem right here. You start Om chanting. 1, 2, 3. Rest, check in. Is it still there? Yeah, okay. 1, 2, 3. Do it again. And you keep Om chanting so that that entire problem now starts to vanish. It clears away because the Om chant is source center vibration, right? That is the vibration of the source that is coming in, and that is nullifying the problem and bringing it back into the absorption of the ether. Okay? The Om is absorbing that problem back into the ether. It's bringing it back into the coherency of the ether itself. And it just disappears. I've done this with you guys who have been on my channel for quite some time now, where I've demonstrated the prana transmission technique working with the Om chant, and I've heard from many of you, my problem's gone. I just did the Om chanting exactly as Brad instructed, and the Om chanting helped to rid me of my problems. That's all you got to do. No problem. Okay? Yes, Jordan Maxwell talked about this, and he also had people who had no idea what the Christ oil was, right? He even just gave it away. What's the Christ? Oh, it's anointed one. It's God. It's conscious. No, it's an oil. That's all it is. Christ means oil. It is anointing oil. You're right. It's a very, very special oil that is naturally produced through the secretion of our brain. Okay? And that is the holy substance, you could say. That is the holy elixir. Even in Indian traditions, they refer to as the Amrita nectar. Okay? And that is still the same thing. It's just going down the spine. And it occurs sporadically throughout the entire course of the month. And then it rises itself back up. Okay? And we're helping it, we're assisting it, we're nurturing it along the way until it reaches up through the occipital lobe and then starts to give you a powerful, expansive experience, right? And I've had those in the past, and it's beautiful, right? Last I checked, I think it was a couple months ago, where I had my last Christ oil opening, okay? You just basically get into such a state of peace with yourself that the oil has absolutely no problems, no qualms whatsoever of raising up, representing the raising of the Christhood on the cross, okay? The cross is not just the idea of thinking of some Roman symbol in that way. It is very much the geometric harmonic to which the Christ oil actually flows, okay, in regards to its journey upwards. It's like the hero's journey, moving itself upwards, going into the occipital lobe, activating the pineal, activating the brain cells within yourself, opening up neural pathways. Why do you think I'm able to talk about pretty much almost every subject that is available, guys? Because this is all part of the expansion, right? It's not only with me just talking to Adronis, it's the ability that I have this capacity to open up and communicate and dialogue with any particular topic and share things that I don't even know that just come out, right? It is not I, but Spirit working through me. So, I know it's a long answer to your question here, but nonetheless, it's an important subject, right? So if you're concerning about the nature of Jesus, about what he represents as an archetype, or that he's just an archetype and the man himself didn't exist. No, he certainly existed, right? But he really represents the archetype. He is the codex, that when you crack it, you're able to see how you move into Christhood as well too. But it's even taking another step beyond that. You have to embody the Christ. It's not just the idea of the oil. The oil is the first step, but you have to move yourself up into godhood. You have to walk this earth as a living God to maintain that. And I haven't even done that yet. So that's where there's always going to be challenges. You have to walk this earth as a living God, right? And that is you seeing for yourself your true authenticity, your true uniqueness, your true divine nature. All right? Thank you again for your question. All right. We got about 10 minutes before we get into healing, so we'll see if we can take another question here. Anna asked the question, what dimension is Adronis pertaining to? Is part of humanity still in the third dimension or the other part in the fourth? Thank you. Well, Adronis would reside, if we were looking at densities, he basically would reside in the highest density, right? So the seventh, okay? He would basically be of a type of angelic consciousness. That really is where he resides, because he can just be anywhere, he can be anyone. He is unified with the all, right? He's unified with the one, I would say. So that's really where he's coming from. It's the highest degree of what we would understand as densities are concerned. Now, where is humanity going in that way? Well, like I said, you guys are still on a third density planet, okay? It's fourth density compliant, but it's still a third density planet. If you were living in a fourth density planet right now, none of this stuff of what you would see as chaos would be happening, okay? Because that is a much more lighter frequency. Right now, we're in a third density planet because it houses a lot of these situations and events that we're going through. So you're very much a part of a third density world. But again, it's becoming fourth density compliant, which means veils are falling. And so the idea is that you're starting to perceive a lot more to life than what was previously known and realized. So you're seeing the idea of what a lot of people would refer to as supernatural events, where you're starting to see that, again, there's leaking dimensions coming together in here. So again, Earth is moving much more into a fourth density compliant planet. This is why I say fourth density compliant, okay? For you to move into a fourth density Earth would involve moving into a completely different dimension altogether, okay? So third density and fourth density cannot occupy the same domain, okay? So when you basically have that splitting of worlds, as Adronis has talked about, Dolores Cannon has talked a lot about that, of the splitting of worlds, right? Where you see a third density Earth and a fourth density Earth, okay? Now, basically, they occupy the same space, as it were, but they're in different dimensions. They're in different domains. So basically, you could not take this physical body and go to that type of world. It's not possible. This is your third density body. The third density body has to stay here. When you leave the third density body, and if it is your decision to move up into the fourth density Earth, then that's something that you have the capability of looking into. I've already been there, right? And all I had to do was basically consciously astral project, right? I basically did some yoga nidra with myself, and I got myself into a consciousness projected astral body, and I was able to take a little bit of a tour of the fourth density Earth, and it is phenomenal. It is a beautiful paradise, right? Even this world herself, she's very beautiful. But we can even step it up even higher than that. It's like the world that the Fae would occupy. It's very, very beautiful because the Fae themselves are also part of that particular Earth that I speak of. So for you to be a part of that is involving yourself to, I would say, just set an intention. If conscious astral projection or astral projection is not something that you have the capability of doing at this particular point, maybe you're working towards it, and that's great. Just put an intention, right? Put an intention, put your heart, put your sincerity behind that intention. And as you go to sleep at night, you may start to have lucid dreams of other Earths. I've talked to countless people who have said, Brad, I've seen another Earth. I've gone to that other Earth, and it is so beautiful. It is so incredible. I say, I know. I've seen it firsthand myself. I know exactly how beautiful it is. And it's a very, very different world. It's nothing like what we're living in right now, right? You're not looking at people with iPhones. You're not looking at people with electrical technology or anything of that nature. You're looking at something that's much more indigenous, right? That there are towns, that there are villages, that there are cities as well too, but these cities are much more based on crystals. It's kind of like looking at ancient Atlantis. It's like looking at Cambodia with Angkor Wat. It's like looking at some of these ancient towns that were built many thousands of years ago. That's basically what's there, right? It's a lot of these ancient structures that have been modernized, right? You see children playing around these ancient structures. You see pyramids. You see temples. You see, again, these shapes of the pine cone, right? Everything that basically represents resonance chambers that's moving you into higher states when you're going inside and you're doing resonant tuning, okay? That is what you're seeing in fourth density Earth. It's a very, very different world from what we had. Like I said, we used to have that type of ancient technology. But a lot of those particular ancient civilizations left this Earth, and they are abiding there. And now that there is a compliance of fourth density that happened in 2016, this is now something that's available for people to go and explore. But before that time, many of the modern day people could not go to fourth density Earth because they were still suffering in their lower realms, their lower problems, right? And that's what you have to learn to shed. You have to clear that out, right? You can't expect to go into these beautiful heavenly realms while you're still suffering, while you're still in pain, while you're still in conflict. Can't be done, okay? At best, you'll probably go into the psychic layer of this earth. And that's probably about as best as you'll get. Okay? And that is almost like what we would call just like a carbon copy of the earth, where again there are certain forms of astral capabilities, right? Being able to pass through walls and being able to make yourself grow or shrink or anything of that particular nature, things that you would see in dream time. But the psychic plane in that sense can be, there's a higher psychic plane, there's a lower psychic plane. But the psychic plane is kind of like the outer film of the earth. It's not really that great. Okay, it's really just a carbon copy of the earth, and a lot of people who are in misery and who are in contempt with themselves reside within those psychic planes. They're basically caught. It's like a fly being caught in a cobweb, right? And they're basically just caught up in these psychic planes. And they start seeing this phenomena and they get scared and they just start running for the hills. When in fact this phenomena can be guides, helpers, angels that are coming in to help assist them to the other side, and they run, right? But they're only going to run for so long, right? Until they're actually helped, until they realize it's my light that's helping me to guide myself upwards, that's helping me to loosen myself from the psychic cobweb. Okay? Very few people are actually able to go into the new earth. It's very, very true. If we're looking at the percentage of people, maybe only 10 to 15% of the population will have the opportunity of doing that. In regards to visiting it, or even people who want to live on that earth will even be more significantly less, right? Could even be up to about 5 or 6%. Okay, it's not a lot of people. Okay, a lot of people are, yes, they're breaking their chains. They're starting to realize that there's much more to the 5 sense reality. They're learning that the government and authority is not all that it's cracked up to be. They're looking at these things. But these are physical things. Okay, and I'm talking more about your spiritual side. And Earth still has a long way to go before the majority of their population starts looking much more seriously into their spiritual side. I've worked with tens of thousands of you for the past 15 years, and only a few of you are basically ready to commit to that higher level. Only a few of you, right? Majority of you are just curious, and that's fine. Just you being curious, and that's all right. But like I said, the spiritual heightening of humanity has a long way to go yet. Okay, you got a long way to go. We're talking about thousands and thousands of years. Okay, and that's the majority of the people on this planet. I would say at least 3/4. Okay, first quarter of the planet may have that opportunity. There's potentials for people to start moving into that spiritual heightening, to move into exploring other realms, other domains, going into these heavenly planes, returning back into the source, coming into center, surrendering, realizing their authenticity, right? When I'm talking about this stuff with authenticity and uniqueness, there's nobody else that's really talking about that, right? And that's telling you exactly how rare this is, how scarce this is. This is information that is extremely rare, right? And like I said, this is where it's going to take time for the majority of the planet to move up into its own spiritual upliftment. It's going to take time, but it will happen. That's the good news. It will take place, but it's going to take a long, long, long time. Okay? And some of us are already there, but we're very few. Okay? And all we're really doing is helping the planet along as we work upon ourselves, as we don't get so caught up in your own state of enlightenment. You have to bring yourself back into the body. You have to learn to integrate, and then you start working together in service of the heart, not of the ego, but of the heart, right? You're moving into heart-centered service because you've already had your enlightenment experience. You've already gone through it. Now get yourself back into your body and start working together with service, and start surrendering and letting go of anything that is in your way pertaining to conflict. And I'm talking about those people who have already had an enlightenment experience and are still lost. Okay, guys? Enlightenment is not the end of your journey. It's the beginning. If you haven't had a enlightenment experience yet, you haven't even begun to live. Because that's what's helping you to get on track, to actually start living life. If you have not had an enlightenment experience, all you've been doing is surviving. You haven't lived at all, right? And so when you have that enlightenment experience, you see God, you realize yourself, you know who you are now. Now you need to bring that into integration here in the body. You need to take everything that is divine and you need to bring it into the body. You need to bring it into the physical, and you need to ground, and you need to serve. You need to let your heart do the deciding here, not the ego. Right? That's really what it comes down to. So I'm talking a little bit more. It's 11:11 a.m. as soon as I'm talking about this stuff, right? But that is, again, extremely important. When you have an enlightenment experience, it is the beginning of life. It is not the end. And so many people, especially in the New Age community, just get into enlightenment, then you'll have an ascended body, and then you just vanish off the planet. No, that's not how it works. Why? Because I've had several enlightenment experiences, right? Quite a few of them. Not just one, but several. And I'm still here. You see me bursting into a ball of light and vanishing off the planet because I've had several enlightenment experiences? No. This is where things get a little bit more challenging, because people are just so enamored about what they feel in the spaciousness of their own being. And that's great. And that's something you can play around with when you leave the body. But you are in a body right now, and you need to integrate these things into yourself right now. And a lot of people, even enlightened masters, don't know how to do this, right? And this is exactly what I had to learn, is just bring myself back into the earth, bring myself back into the body, because I've had these beautiful, expansive experiences. I've seen the gateways of heavens. I've seen the face of God. I've seen all of that, and you're so enamored by it, but you have to swallow it into yourself. And now let the heart lead you. Enlightenment is not the end. It's the beginning of living. Okay? Integration is your progression throughout life after enlightenment. Okay? So, something important for you guys to know, in case you're still going through that yourselves. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and move on into healing requests. So again, thank you everybody for your requests and for your questions. So we're going to start off with some healing, and I'm going to start off with the donation-based questions here. So this one first is for Martine LaFontaine, then I'll get to Java Bali, and then I'll get into Pax's request here as well too. Okay, and those will be my 3 volunteers for today. I don't think if I had another one here. Actually, no, there's Anna as well too. And so Anna will be the 4th person, so I'll do 4 people today, okay? There was a question here that I missed here from George. George C. says, Adronis, can you tell me which serious beings Patricia Corey communicates with? There's 2 reasons why I will not answer that question, George. Number 1, I don't know Patricia Corey. Number 2, it's not my business. And number 3, it's not your business. Okay? You need to be careful about the type of questions that you ask. Okay? To basically barge in and say, oh, what type of beings does she have? You don't need to know that. It's not your business. Okay? And the whole idea here is that if that particular channel feels comfortable in sharing that information, she will share it. Otherwise, you're just invading her. Okay? And I will not invade another person based on thinking of what type of being she channels. Doesn't matter, because you're only after that for the intellectual question. And that does not serve you, that does not serve me, that does not serve her, and that does not serve the people that she works with. Okay? Be mindful in regards to the type of questions that you have that are really just mundane intellectual curiosities, because that's all they are. And you have the ability to look into these things yourself if you want to. But it's not important about who the source is, right? If I basically just said, okay, guys, I'm going to go within. Oh, Brad, who are you talking to? That's not important. I want you guys to look at the message. Oh, he's probably talking to Adronis, or he's probably talking to Rayar. Oh, okay, let's get somebody to go in and then start looking about who the source is, who channels. Why are you wasting your time with such nonsense, right? Why aren't you listening to the message? Did the message serve you? That's good. It's great. That's all that matters. Who cares who's behind the megaphone, right? This is why I'm just giving you that reminder. I will not look into things like that, okay? And this is for the person named as Patricia Corey. That's for her to reveal. This is her space. These are her guides. This is her work. When she feels comfortable in sharing more about that, she will. Other than that, it's not your business. Move on to something that's much more helpful to you towards your expansion. Okay? George, that's something I got to share with you. And I'm just being honest as I share these things. Okay? So let's go ahead and move on. Like I said, let's go to Martine's question here. So Martine says, hi, Brad. I request healing at my right knee area, please. Thank you. Okay. So as I talked about earlier, guys, I'm going to be doing Kundalini healing power today. Okay. So this is going to be a little bit different than what I did with the traditional distance healing that I usually do. So Martine, if you're with me right now, all I want you to do is just take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Okay, and I want you to bring your awareness to where you're feeling discomfort in the right knee. Okay, I want you just to be aware of that now. Okay, and I will go ahead and I'll begin the Kundalini healing power for you. Here we go. And Martine, may the Kundalini healing power remain with you until the situation of the conflict is resolved entirely. Let it be done. Apply. Love and blessings to you, Martine. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Let's go on to Mr. Java Bali here. Java Bali says, hi, Brad. Could you do a healing on my mom, Beatrice, who has macular degeneration? Okay, so basically you're referring to eye problems. You didn't let me know if it's from one eye or both eyes, but we'll work with both eyes. I'm going to basically work with her eyes, her brain, her spinal cord. Okay, so we'll be working with those particular areas all together. All right. So Java Bali, if you want to share some loving energies in the background together as I do this work on your mother, Beatrice, you're welcome to. Same with anybody else who wants to send loving energies to his mother, Beatrice. Okay. So I will just go ahead and take a moment now to connect with Beatrice. And just opening up the Kundalini healing power. And to Beatrice, may the Kundalini healing power remain with you until the condition itself is resolved. Let it be done. Apply. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Javabali, and to your mother, Beatrice. All right, so let's go down to the third person. I will go back up to the previous question here in a moment. The other person was from Anna Schilling. Anna requests, a healing request, please, for my mom, Mary, for her ears. Her hearing seems decreased on the left ear. Thank you so much. Okay, we'll work together with both ears. Together we're going to work with the inner ear canal and the inner ear infrastructure. We'll also work with the entirety of the brain, the spinal cord, and the nervous system, okay, for your mother, Mary. All right, so again, Anna, if you want to send some loving healing in the background, anybody else wants to as well too, you're more than welcome to do so, okay? So let's go ahead and begin as I connect with Mary now. Okay, feeling connection with Mary now, we'll begin. And to Mary, may the Kundalini healing power continue to work with you until all areas that have been disturbed are resolved altogether. Namaste. Blessings to you. Apply. Okay. Thank you very much, Anna, for your request. Let's go up here into Pax's question here. I know I got another donation here from Trine. So Trine or Trine. I'll get to you in just a moment. Okay. That's it, guys. After 5 people. Okay, I'm kind of over it as it is. So no more healing requests, please. Okay, this will just be for Pax, and then Trine or Trine will be next. Okay, and then we'll move on to group healing. So Pax says, Brad, I would really appreciate healing as I have no health insurance and my blood pressure is through the roof. I feel dizzy and very tired. I will have some money for the doctor next week, but Anna. Okay, so thank you, Anna, for your question. Now, very important too, if you guys are having blood pressure issues, pranayama, breath control. Okay, just start working together with heart rate variability. Okay, as I've taught many times on this webcast, you guys should pretty much know how that goes. If you're new, breathing into the nose 4 seconds, breathing out to the nose 6 seconds. Repeat, 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 repeat. Okay, no pauses before, in the middle, or after each breath. Just a constant stream. 4 seconds into the nose, 6 seconds out to the nose. Second thing, Pax, that will really help you, just doing this 5 times a day. Okay, and this is something else that you can work together with you guys, because as you continue to do this over the span of a couple of months, your blood pressure is going to stabilize. Okay, and we only do this one 5 times a day. Okay, this is referred to as Kakashuddhi Kriya, otherwise known as the crow's beak or the crow's breath. Okay, so what you're doing is when you're exhaling, you're puckering your lips like a crow, right? Like a beak of a crow. Okay, so it's kind of like if you have a big birthday cake and you have like a dozen candles out, and you want to try and blow all of those candles out of the birthday cake at once, right? So, okay, just like that. That's what you're doing in Kakashuddhi Kriya. The first thing you want to do, and this is for all of you who are sick, this is for everybody who is sick, who needs to get into detoxification, who wants to lose weight, who wants to purge a great deal of viruses and bacteria out of your body, suck in your gut. Okay? This is what's known as Uddiyana Bandhan. Okay? Uddiyana Bandhan basically is just you tightening the ab muscles of your stomach. Every single one of you can do it, okay? Not your stomach, your abdomen, okay? If you have an abdomen, you can do this, okay? Even if you do it just a little bit, that's fine. If I'm sucking my gut in like this, okay, I'm really only going halfway. I'm doing 50% of that. I'm not doing 100% like this, okay? 50%, just a little tightening, just like that, okay? What this does is this keeps the prana contained in the chest area, okay? As the prana is being contained here because it's contained in the solar plexus, right? By sucking in your gut, you're basically creating a lock. This is also known as a navel lock. As you have that navel lock here, all the prana is remaining in the chest. And what that's doing is that prana is heating up. It's getting stronger and stronger and more potent as you start doing the pranayama exercises like what I'm suggesting. The first one being heart rate variability. The second one being Kakashuddhi Kriya. Okay? And this is what's really going to help you guys because so many people are sick. And this again is coming right from the East because it's really the Eastern practices here that work. Right? So it's exactly why it's been incorporated into many different forms of Western practices because the Eastern people know what the heck they're doing. Western people, not so much. Okay, so suck in your gut just like this. Okay, a little bit, just tightening the abs, right? So it's very little movement when you're inhaling and exhaling. Okay, so if I'm standing up like this, okay, and my belly is pushed in a little bit, it's sucked in a little bit, watch what happens when I breathe. Do you see how the abdomen is moving very little and the chest is expanding? Okay, that is what you want to do. That's what's going to help you with this because I'm going to get your healing in just a minute. But this is very, very important for you guys to do because here's the truth. Urination, defecation, and sweat only take about 30% of the toxins out of your body, which means they are not a significant reliability for purging all the toxins out of your body. Do you know what does 70% of the job? Your breath. Okay? Your deep cleansing breath is what takes 70% of toxins out of the body. Okay? And it's certainly making a world of difference for me. I feel healthier. I feel more vitalized because I'm doing this every single day. And that just involves just sucking in your gut a little bit, working with Uddiyana Bandhan, or the navel lock, okay? And just keeping all of the prana here in the chest contained. The bellows means your left and your right lungs, okay? Bellows is not down here in the abdomen. It's right here in the lungs. You want to keep everything concentrated right here. Even in AETHERX, for certain objects that I've imbued, it works through the solar plexus prana to deliver it into certain areas of the body that require it, because this is your station for prana. Okay, so you're keeping it all in here just by sucking in the gut a little bit, and we're going to do Kakashuddhi Kriya together. Okay, we're going to do, I'll just do 2 examples here, and I want you guys to do that 5 times. Okay, go throughout your day. Every morning you wake up, do this on an empty stomach. Suck in your gut. Keep your spine straight. If you're sitting in a chair, keep your legs a little bit further apart, because you're going to be bending down as you do Kakashuddhi Kriya. Okay, so let's try this together. I say, well, first maybe watch me do the first round, and then we'll do, then we'll do 2 together. Okay, so let's inhale. Okay, and then we're going to breathe out. Just watch me.
Inhale.
And come back up. Okay, so when I'm doing that, okay, I'm moving myself down. My head is slightly tilted. My spine is a little bit curved. And I'm going down. And I'm emptying every breath out of the lungs. You don't do, okay, I'm done. And you still have half a supply of oxygen in your lungs. You're doing it wrong. Okay, your lungs need to be emptied. Then you inhale first and rise second. Okay, that is Kakashuddhi Kriya. Okay, so let's do that twice together. So like I said, you're breathing in, your spine is nice and straight, your belly is tucked in. Go.
Inhale.
Back up. Okay, take a moment to breathe in. Breathe out. Nice and slowly, be aware of the breath. Be aware of how much volume of air you're bringing into your lungs and how much volume of air you're purging from your lungs. Extremely important. Okay? Let's breathe in again. We're going to do it one more time. Inhale. Go.
Inhale.
And back up. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Now, make sure your exhales are longer than your inhales. Okay, don't make them equal and don't make the inhale larger than the exhale. You're stimulating the sympathetic nervous system. You're stimulating flight or freeze, and you do not want that. We are purging. We are cleansing. We're not interested in going into your sympathetic emotional disarrays. Okay, so basically what we're doing is we're calming the body. The body is being calmed. It is being stimulated through the dorsal-vagal complex. The parasympathetic nervous system is being stimulated as you have longer exhales. That's bringing you into calmness so that you can go to work. Right? As you go to work, now you can start clearing all this debris out. Physical toxins, emotional toxins, and mental toxins. And this is kind of part of the group thing that I was going to do with you guys today, but I'm doing it now. So again, this is what I want Anna to look into. And I want you guys to look into this as well too. If you guys have high blood pressure, you need to start doing breath work. You need to start doing pranayama. Okay? It's very, very important. Just with the 2 I gave you here. Heart rate variability, Kakashuddhi Kriya, okay? Uddiyana Bandhan, okay? Keeping in the belly, right? Just giving a bit of a tightness. And try to keep it like that throughout the day as often as you can. If you're driving your car, Uddiyana, okay? Binding it. You're doing dishes, Uddiyana. Okay, you're watching TV, Uddiyana. You're typing on the computer, Uddiyana. Just try to work with that bind. Okay, that does incredible benefit for you because that is containing the prana here. And that is going to make it strong and potent, and that is going to clear out a majority of viruses in your body as you learn to be conscious with breathing in and breathing out with longer exhales. So many of us don't do this, and that's why we're sick. Okay? Especially for those of you who are elderly. You need to get on pranayama immediately. Okay? And just start doing this work and start clearing this out, because if you want 70% of your toxins that urination, defecation, and sweat does not touch, you have to go to the breath. Okay? You got to do pranayama. Make your exhales longer than your inhales, and you're going to see a difference as you do this week by week by week by week. Okay? Only takes you a few minutes of your time, right? It's well worth it. Put the commitment into healing your body, right? That's all part of having a ideal, empowering life, is the taking care of your body. You treat your body like crap, you have not understood life, right? Treat your body with respect. Treat it as a temple. Very important. Okay? All right, Anna, so let's go ahead and get to your healing here. So you said that you have blood pressure problem is through the roof, okay? And you feel very dizzy and very tired. Please, guys, no more healing requests, okay? I'm not taking any more after trines, okay? So anyways, Anna, I will go ahead and work with you now. So I want you just to be here with me right now in this moment, okay? And all I want you to do, Anna, is I want you just to rub your chest, just like this, okay? That's helping you to tune into your heart, okay? And just surrender, letting anything that needs to come through, all right? We'll go ahead now and we'll begin. And Anna, just keeping the Kundalini healing power with you for as long as it needs to until your situation is fully resolved, here and now. With love and blessings to you, thank you. Apply. Okay, thank you, Anna. Okay, I'm going to go down to Shrine. I know we have another donation here, okay? But again, guys, I'm not taking any more requests, okay? So, because we're almost out of time here. I'm already going way past my time limit here, okay? And that was basically my group healing that I was doing with you guys. So after Shrine's request, I do have to wrap it up because I do have to head out here very quickly. Okay, so this one here is from Shrine. Okay, if I didn't get around to you today, you please just go ahead and you email me. Okay, just go to newerteachings.com, go to contact, and you can drop me a message there. Okay. So Shrine says, need healing of my head. Okay, so pretty simple. We'll just work with the head. Like I said, we'll work with the brain. We'll work with the spinal cord. We'll work with the nervous system. Okay. Try to be a little bit more specific, guys, in regards to requests. It just helps me out so I know exactly what to pinpoint when I'm doing healing on you, okay? If it's macular degeneration, is it in the left eye or is it the right, or is it both? It just helps me to know this thing. That is where I know where to put spiritual concentration on it, okay? It helps me when you do that. All right, so Trine, I will go ahead and work on your head. So Trine, as you're with me now, I just want you to do this, okay? Connecting with your heart, okay? Tuning in. Just letting whatever comes in to come in. All right, let's go ahead and begin. right, to try and everything that is coming into you right now, let it remain with you. Let the Kundalini healing power remain with you until the situation that is troublesome is resolved. Thank you very much. Apply. Okay, so thank you everybody for your donation requests. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your presence today. Like I said, I know there's a lot of people that need healing, but again, I'm only available for so much time right now. So like I said, you can always drop me an email later on. What I would suggest as well too is you go talk to my fiance. Okay, you go talk to Brianne. Okay, her website is trinityhomehealing.com. All one word, trinityhomehealing.com. Okay, and she also does distance healing requests by donation. Okay, so she can help you out as well too if you need some immediate healing done. Thank you so much, everybody, and I'll talk to you next Thursday on Rumble. Okay, so again, the signposts will be coming to Rumble next Thursday, same time at 10 a.m. Pacific time. You can tune in to yesterday's broadcast because that also has the Rumble link there on the signposts. Or again, just go to rumble.com/signpostslive. Okay, type that in, and that will take you to the page. Thank you so much, everybody. And I'll talk to you again next week. Have a great rest of the holidays, and I'll see you in the new year of 2024, the year of overhaul. Om Shanti 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 Namaskar, and may it be well with you. Goodbye for now. Thank you so much for tuning in to New Earth Teachings on YouTube. Don't forget to check out our websites, newearthteachings.com, where you can do private sessions with me, and also AETHERX.co. And through AETHERX, you'll be able to pick up your Healing Code Cards body deck, your mind deck, and your energy deck through AETHERX. You will also be able to pick up the Etherbed kit. That is also on AETHERX as well. Not to mention that you'll also be able to pick up some apparel and accessories that is also available on AETHERX. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next one. Om Shanti 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 Namaskar, and may it be well with you.